What did you steal?
Secrets.
Disclosure Day is Steven Spielberg's best film in 20 years.
Are they people?
No.
Are they human?
Oh my God.
Spielberg does this better than anybody in history.
I can see them. They're coming.
Disclosure Day. Rated PG-13. Some material may be inappropriate for children under 13. In theaters Friday. Get tickets now.
Anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking.
All right, this is Abel with KC Soccer Journal. I am sitting here with Coach Lee Tschantret. How do I say your name, man? I always screw that up.
You said it perfect. You can say it Tschantret or Tschantret. Either way, I respond to anything pretty much.
Am I not supposed to use the T?
You can. I say it's either way. I'm good with either.
See, I just remember the old days. I watched you play for the Kansas City Attack, and they always like very much said Tschantret.
Yep, it's a good announcer's way to do it.
Yeah, that's so. Going back to those days, I think you came to Kansas City like 93, 94, something like that.
Yeah, I think I was here 94 to 97.
Yeah, and I was looking at some stats because I had season tickets to the Attack back then, and I have to like fanboy for a second. You were my favorite player because you scored goals and you got lots of penalty minutes. And I went back and looked, and you led the team in penalty minutes or fouls committed. I know that, and you were always in the top 3 or 4 for goals scored. Does that kind of just reflect the kind of player you were always, like scoring goals and a little physical?
Yeah, I think it reflected the fact that I enjoyed contact. And back then I was a little bit crazier than I am now. But yeah, I honestly, I look back on it myself, and the thing that I loved most about playing was competing. So I loved to compete, and I took pride in defending as a forward.
After you left here, you went through, you were a couple other places, indoor and outdoor. Just what stands out from your time here in Kansas City?
Listen, some of my best friends I still have to this day are from Kansas City. What amazed me most about my 3 years here, number one, is how much I grew as a player. I mean, I had Ian Frazier, Jim Schwab, Ketters, Brian Haynes, who was just amazing. West. We were really tight. So like at any time after practice, going for lunch or going out at night, you would have a different group of 5 or 6 guys. So it wasn't like a little click here, a little click there. That was one of the most complete teams as far as chemistry I've been on. Probably that team and maybe Harrisburg were probably the 2 like most complete teams. Actually, Baltimore was not bad as well. But yeah.
I mean, you guys had some pretty good success that 3 years you were here. But you saw the beginning of MLS start, right? Like in your last year here.
I did.
That's when MLS started.
Yeah, so it was one of those decisions. I'm not sure I got good guidance / information, but it was a decision that I made early on. I actually had some interest in an offer, but you were talking, a $20,000, $30,000 pay cut. For guys like myself who weren't really well known. I thought they would come calling and knocking down the doors, but they were much smarter than me, and they were going to take the lumps and have the few, foreign guys, and then fill them in with the rest of the Americans, paying them what they could to sustain the league. And I thought that was really good. But it was. I have absolutely zero regrets or zero, I wonder if I did this. Yeah. So not necessarily regret, but wondering if you took a different turn. Some of my best friends to this day, closest friends, came from my indoor years and playing out in the old American Professional Soccer League, which actually I played against Dom Kinnear, who's our first team assistant coach, and then the A-League and stuff like that. So yeah, I got to be a big kid for a long time.
That was kind of a crazy time because right before MLS started, the indoor league was the best soccer league in the country. It felt like.
Yeah, I mean, we had some outdoor national team guys in there. We had some big time outdoor players that played, and you would go outdoor, indoor, outdoor, indoor. I did that for years until my body collapsed. That was a little much, But yeah, it was an interesting time. I don't think a lot of the players could maybe manage mentally what we managed back then because the guys now laugh, including my own son, where I'm like, hey, unless you were like the top one or two guys on your team, there was no guaranteed contract. They can get
Yeah.
rid of you whenever they want it. Right. And he was in like, his jaw dropped. He's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, hey, well, they could get rid of you whenever you want. So it was a different life. It was a different time. I'm so excited for where soccer is right now. I'm not one of those bitter old guys who, I'm excited. Like we were down on kind of that, I wouldn't say the basement type because it went through the old North American Soccer League. And then so we were kind of just along that ladder and we're in a really good spot now. And I'm just excited to where these young players get so many opportunities. And yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember watching the indoor league before MLS started and seeing guys go into MLS later and then seeing guys from MLS go into the indoor league. I think one of the attack players, like maybe your last year here, was Samuel Akeme, who played for the Wiz also. So
Yeah.
it was a little bit crazy seeing that kind of convergence of all the different leagues at that time.
Yeah, for sure. By the way, what a human being that guy is. I mean, aside from a really good player, he was a wonderful human being. Sammy was just one of those guys, right, that we had on those teams. That was wonderful. But yeah, you never knew who you were getting. I mean, we'd have guys pop in from national teams after World Cups, older guys come into indoor league and stuff like that. So it was great. I enjoyed I enjoyed my 20 years of running around and having fun.
Yeah, it was the first time I saw Preki play was actually in indoor league, who then went on to play here in national teams and everything else. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, when you left here, you went to Baltimore, Harrisburg. Where else?
So I was in Philly for a little bit. I played a year in St. Louis, which was crazy because I went to Philly and then St. Louis traded for me, and playing in St. Louis was literally like walking into enemy territory because the rivalry
Yeah.
between us and them it was unbelievable. Like we actually had to have the FBI on our bus one trip because of completely my fault because of death threats against me because I'm who I was. Yeah, so getting traded, I couldn't believe they traded for me was just very odd. And then ended up just an awesome year. I mean, Daryl and Kevin and Mark Mosier and those guys were just awesome, really good human beings. And we realized we didn't hate each other. And it was, yeah, so it was just really, I mean, I had a great time during my indoor years.
By the end of that season, did the St. Louis fans embrace you finally?
Yes, it was really good. So yeah. And then you have to have a lot of conversations with them in the bars and after party and stuff like that, where they have to recount the fact how much they really hated me. And I was like, yeah, I feel you. I would hate me too. So I understood it.
Yeah, again, that's one of the reasons you were, I think, my favorite player with the attack was you were willing to get in people's faces and be physical and all that. So you were the player I probably aspired to be.
Oh
So
boy. I don't know if that's a good thing.
it probably wasn't. I'm
Right.
just saying. But when did you start to decide that you wanted to go from getting in people's faces and start coaching people?
When the legs wore out. So I played until I was 38. And then there was a teaching job that opened up. So I was helping a buddy of mine, Kyle Swords, who was an indoor player at Baltimore and stuff. He ended up teaching and coaching at a high school in Baltimore, Loyola High School. It was a very good Jesuit academic school and very good soccer team as well. And so I was helping him out. And then the teaching coaching job opened up. And at that point, I was 38. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just interview for it. I didn't think I was going to get it.
Yeah.
I wanted to play a few more years. And lo and behold, I got the job. And so I took that job and got into coaching that way. And still, I ended up playing one more year after that. I actually would just fly in for games at Philly, play for the Philly Kicked. And yeah, so I didn't really know at that point how much I would enjoy it and what I would do. But I actually ended up loving teaching. That's one thing I actually miss teaching a little bit, miss the connections you make with the kids and stuff like that. And then I really grew into coaching. Like I realized the legs are kind of going, and this was how to stay into the game, and started taking my license, got my B license, my A license, that kind of stuff. And yeah, so just kind of jumped into it and this is where I ended up.
What were you teaching?
I was teaching PE and health.
I kind of thought so, but you never
Yeah.
know, right?
Yeah, no, that's
But
about it. That's the limit. That's
then if
where I
you're
live.
like trigonometry or something, it would
Oh
have been
God, no.
surprising me.
That's my kids. They take after my wife. They're all the brainiacs.
So you started coaching, got more into that. Your son cello was playing. Were you coaching him?
So I did. I coached cello for a little bit, but cello and I are too much alike. So I coached my older son, Masi. Dabbled a little bit with my daughter's team. I was always afraid to coach girls because I didn't want to scare them with my voice because I'm a loud human being. But cello was, I kind of realized pretty early we're a lot alike and it wasn't healthy. So I got to the point where we didn't, it was good. I realized it from probably the mistakes I made with Masi, who was more docile and not docile is not the word, but whatever. He let things roll
A little
up.
more easygoing.
Yeah, where cello's combative like me. So if he played back in the day when I played, he would have been the same player. But since you can't play like that now, he has to limit his willingness to kill people. And I don't mean kill, I mean willingness to tackle hard,
Right.
smash people.
Yeah.
Right.
We're not burying bodies in the
Yes,
backyard
no,
behind
no.
a lion's cage or
No.
across the creek.
None of that stuff.
No. Although that might be a good spot. I'll have to keep that in mind for later. Anyway, so you coach cello a little bit, but at some point, cello ends up here, you end up here. Who came first?
Cello came first. So John Perry saw cello at a futsal event. So, and I know John, we played together for years. He's a good guy, good friend. So John saw cello and said, hey, would cello be interested in coming out here? And I'm like, John, he's 12 years old.
Yeah.
I'm not letting my son leave the house at 12, and he's like, yeah, I'll take care of him. And so cello would come in and guest for tournaments and stuff like that. And then right before his freshman year in high school, he's like, Dad, I want to go to Kansas City. And honestly, I was against it. I didn't want to let him come here. And nothing against sporting. I just wanted to raise my son. Right. So it's important to me. And I got triple teamed by my wife and my older son, Masi, and my daughter, Matea. So they kind of triple team me and they're like, you keep telling us to work and shoot for our goals and everything. And cello is a great student and he's a good human being, like my other two kids. And so, so they twisted my arm and cello ended up here and kind of ran with it from there.
Then you ended up on the academy staff coaching.
And then I did. So I actually got an offer. John offered me the 18th position, my oldest son, Massimo's senior year. And I just didn't think it was fair to him. So I thought Masi was growing into his own and really coming out. And, I just didn't think it was a good thing for him. So I didn't accept the position as much as I wanted to. I just didn't think it was fair to him to move him his senior year. And, I thought, okay, well, I missed that chance and I'll figure something out once all my kids are out of the house. I'll figure something out. And so I was lucky this job came up a little bit later. And my daughter, Matea, I call her Taya. So Taya was getting ready to go to college. So it worked out perfect.
I know you said that you and cello are a little too much alike, but you haven't really coached them very much here. You haven't overlapped a lot, have you?
No, but it got easier as it got older. We started to understand each other. I rarely would ask him things after games anymore or things like that. I would kind of just let him vent and complain. He liked to call me after games and I would just let him vent and complain. And I never had anything good to say. And I have to be honest, I really didn't as a parent. It was really simple for me, work harder. What does your coach want? Give it to him and figure out how to show your gifts. So I'm sure if I was him, I would have been like, give me something more, baby me a little bit, right? I would have been angry. So it was just one of those things where we kind of figured each other out. And, I wanted to have a good father-son relationship. It's the one thing, not the one thing, but one of the things I tried to get right in my life was I tried to, as parents, we never get it right, but I tried to be a good dad for my kids.
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat. I have a daughter who's 22 and trying to always figure out the right thing to do for her has not always been easy. She's talented in her own ways, not always the ways I wanted it to be, but otherwise she'd be playing professional soccer right now instead of a singer. So
Right. Oh, good for her.
yeah, it's hard to figure those things out, but cello's like a good kid. He's the only one I know of your children, so He's a good guy. I sat and listened to you guys talk at a college game that one day, and just listened to you guys talk about watching the game and some of the things going on. It gave me a different appreciation for you as a person, because I was hearing you interact with somebody, not hearing you as a player or as a coach.
Right.
So
Yeah, listen, I feel really lucky. I feel really blessed. All my kids are really good human beings. Like, and that's at the end of the day, you try to raise them to be, caring, compassionate, accepting, good human beings, and they are. And so we're lucky that way. My wife and I are lucky. Erin does a great job with the kids, and we got lucky. You have to get a little luck along the way raising kids, as you know.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. What do you consider to be your strengths as a coach, or weaknesses, whichever way you want to go? No.
I think my strength is somewhat my weakness as well. So I think I bring a lot of, I think as a coach, we need to bring energy to the sessions. So I think that is definitely one of my strengths, is trying to hold the kids to a really high standard. Um, and I think I do that a lot, and I try to get the most out of the kids. And sometimes that can be a detriment, because you need the kids to provide the energy themselves sometimes. So as I've gotten older, I've kind of learned a little bit. Some teams don't need it as much, and then some teams need it a little bit more, where you need to provide the energy for them. I feel like, for the most part, I feel like I've been pretty successful, and you never, ever, 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 ever get it right all the time. But I feel like I can read the game just because you've been in the game so long. You can kind of see scenarios. So I think we make good adjustments as a staff. I feel like I can make some pretty good adjustments. And, maybe more than not, which is nice. So
Does any of your team know your history with committing fouls in the indoor league?
probably not. I mean, I hope nobody goes on and look, oh my God, they had the brawl that I had in St. Louis. Like, oh my God, that was awful. So yeah, so I hope not.
I was trying to find the number of penalty minutes you had. I couldn't find it, but
I'm number one by far. By far, I took over Tim Tima. Tim played like 15 years. I think I beat him in 5. Tim is I love Tim. Tim's a good dude.
there was always that Gordie Howe hat trick where you get a goal and assist in a fight. So I was an indoor version of that, was goal and assist and a stay in the penalty box. So I figured you got a few of those.
Yeah, I think I had like, at one point I had like 1,000 points and 1,000 penalty minutes or something like that. Something crazy. Like, yeah. So
But again, I kind of always joke about the amount of fouls you commit, but you were a really good goal scorer. Several of the teams you were with, you scored at least a goal per game you played in on average.
yeah, I think I grew in that area. I think to be honest, if I'm being really honest, if I was a better finisher, I probably would have been a more elite outdoor player. I needed a little bit too many chances to score. I would rush a little bit in front of net. Indoors, a little forgiving at times, because it can hit the board and come back to you. But yeah, I mean, look at it. I think I was someone who absorbed what the older guys were trying to teach me. I stayed after practice a lot and worked and tried to work on my game, not just finishing, but a bunch of it. So I was really lucky. I had a lot of older guys along the way that accepted me for who I was, which at that time was probably not easy, because I was honestly, I was a little out of control, a little crazy. And they, they saw the kindness in my heart, and they knew I wasn't completely crazy, and helped me out along the way. And yeah, feel fortunate.
Who were some of the coaches maybe that left their imprint on you to what you can draw on today?
Listen, coaches leave an imprint, either good or bad, always, right? So there's some coaches that I've had where I'm like, okay, I will never do that. I don't like that. And then there's some coaches that I really enjoyed. Paul Mariner, who was player assistant coach, who passed away. I don't even know how many years ago. Maybe 5, 7 years. Time's flying.
Yeah,
So Paul Mariner,
didn't he coach in New England for a while?
he did. So he was an assistant coach in New England. He was player coach when I was my first year in the old American Professional
Yeah.
Soccer League. He had played in England in the World Cup and stuff for England. Paul, I got a lot from Paul. Paul, actually, my rookie year, we did this horrible fitness exercise. It's called 6-5-4-3-2-1. And so you would run around, basically around a track 6 times. as fast as you can. Half the team and the other half was doing push-ups and sit-ups, and you would go 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And so I was first 6, 5, 4, 3, and we got to 2, and I did my first lap, and I started to throw up. So I started to kind of pull up because I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to throw up a little bit. And Paul came flying across the field, blaring at me. The English like to use the C word, and he was, boy, and telling me not to stop and like screaming at me, and I just ran. So I just finished that. I finished that out, and it's funny, he didn't say anything to me. So we finished that out, and we did some weights and stuff, and I was sitting in the locker room, and he came up next to me, and he's like, if you want to have a career, he sat next to me really, and he's like, Lee, listen, if you want to have a career, you could never not work that hard ever in your life. And I was like, okay. And I kind of worked hard always, but I think that crystallized it where like, okay, man, you are not talented enough not to kill yourself every single day in practice and every game. And it was something that I still, I remember to this day. So Paul Mariner was a fantastic coach, both on and off the field. And Z was actually a very good indoor coach, very tough to play for. You had to have really thick skin to play for Z.
I can imagine that.
Yeah. So Z, you had to have thick skin. I think some people get caught up in his loudness and his bluster, and they don't see that he actually was a good tactician for indoor. He was a good coach, and Z was a good coach. Keith Tozier, like there were a bunch of coaches along the way. Bob Lilly, as an outdoor coach, was probably one of the best defensive coaches I've ever played for, and that was a tough situation because I had played with Bob.
Yeah.
And then, a few years later, he's your coach and he's your boss. So that was really interesting. Bob's a good dude and an excellent coach. I think he's in the Hall of Fame for the USL Championship. So I've had some really good coaches along the way. I'm sure I'm missing some, but Daryl Duran was actually fantastic coach, good player coach. Don D'Amber in Philly I loved playing for Donnie. D-Man was fantastic. Yeah, so I've had some really good coaches along the way. The guy who probably had the most impact on me was my college coach, Aldo. He was actually my high school coach for 3 years, and then my college coach for 4. I'm his oldest son's godfather, little Aldo's godfather. So
Cool.
Aldo was, he had a good impact, a very positive impact in my career.
And so you're now the coach of SKC II. You have it probably brings like a lot of your experience all together in one spot. You've coached youth, you're a parent, because you have like young guys on these teams.
Right.
You have professionals that are, trying to work their way up. You have guys coming down on loan. Does this just kind of fit like all of your experience together into one job?
Yeah, a bit. I mean, so you got younger guys and you've coached youth soccer, so you kind of know how to handle those younger guys. You have young professionals, and I was a young professional, and then you have these older guys who are coming down, full professionals, and I understand where they are both mentally and everything else. I understand where they are when they come down. So I think that helps. I think I'm very honest with players. I think that's the thing that I try to have a lot of communication, because I find that the most, and this will be interesting, I guess I would be interested to see if this happens in other sports, but usually your best players are your most insecure players. So everybody thinks you don't really need to give those strong guys information and communication, but usually your best players are really kind of your most insecure players, and that's why they're your best players, because they're insecure and they work their tails off to make sure they're the best and everything else. So I see what the lack of communication can do to kids. When a kid, when somebody starts 4 or 5 games in a row and then you bench them and you don't talk to them, and like, I just think, especially in this day and age, right? You just have to deal with where we are. And I think that I try to, and I'm sure I'm not perfect, I try to communicate to everyone. You might not like what I'm saying, but at least I'm upfront and honest with you, and there's no trying to guess. And I'm a New Yorker, and I'm from Naples. Like, my family's from Naples, which is even worse. So you got Napolitan New Yorker, right? So I'm very upfront, very direct, and hopefully in a constructive way.
So I kind of bounce around when I ask these questions because I don't always think linear.
Mhm.
But so going back to when you were first here to now, just obviously so much has changed in soccer across the country, across the world, but just what has been your impression being back in Kansas City these last couple 3 years or however long it's been, and what compared to what you were back then playing at Kemper?
It is completely different. It's a completely different landscape, both with soccer for sure, but the city itself has grown tremendously. Yeah, I mean, honestly, there wasn't much soccer back when we were here in '97, or at least not that we knew of. Right? We had a great fan base, but I'm not sure, other than Jimmy, how many guys were coaching. Schwabi was coaching college and stuff,
Yeah,
which he's still coaching now. I think it's Johnson County, correct? I think
I think so.
Jimmy coaches Johnson County. But yeah, there was not a ton of soccer, and my God, the facilities here are second to none. There's so many facilities too. But yeah, the city has grown. It's a really it's a nice vibe. I enjoy Kansas City a lot.
All right, since you're a Naples descendant New Yorker, do you have a favorite pizza?
Yeah, just a regular margarita is probably my favorite, but if you want to throw buffalo mozzarella on it, I'm not opposed to that. But I also, like a nice thin crust,
Yeah,
and yeah. So,
but do you have a favorite place?
do I have a favorite place? Not really, because all the places kind of close down. They morph all the time. But like you go to any, I'll be honest with you, you go to any place in New York City, you can get just a diner on the corner, and they
Yeah,
have good pie.
so
Yeah, yeah.
that's the one thing I want to go back to New York for. I've only been to New York a little bit, and it was not a great time to be there, but I do want to go back and have some more pizza.
Oh yeah, listen, the food and the culture in New York is fantastic. I love living in New York. I love living in New York City. It was a little dangerous living there in your 20s, but also really fun.
Was it a hard adjustment to come live in a Midwestern cowtown-ish thing when you were playing?
Oh God, so I signed here because of Zoran. Zoran and I played together
Yeah,
in Albany for Paul Mariner, and so Z called me and said, "Hey, want to offer you a contract," and I really got along well with Z, so I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Kansas City." I'm like, "All right, whatever." So I signed, and I'm like, my brothers and sisters were like, "What are you doing? Like, are you going? These people are gonna have horses and cows and like." So that's literally the picture I had in
yeah.
my head when I was coming to Kansas City. Like everybody's gonna have 10-gallon hats and cowboy boots, and I get here, and it's a great little music scene, and Jeff Rogers, who we called Grubby, was his name. Remember Jeff Rogers?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Grubby was my roommate, and they had a great little underground music scene here, and he knew some of the musicians. So I got to see, I was like, wow, this is a really cool. So yeah, but it was completely different vision in my head than when I got here.
Well, it's kind of funny because you end up playing down basically by the stockyards.
Yes, I know.
All right. I guess just I don't want to take too much more of your time, but how has it been coaching the two team? Like, how much have you enjoyed it? And I know there's been struggles, and I don't want to go into why all the reasons are, but how has it been for you?
To be honest with you, it's funny because after last game, we're sitting here and as a coaching staff, and it's been awesome. Like the thing that's been hardest on me is the guys haven't gotten the results that they deserve. Like we've had probably 3 games where a draw would have been the minimum we should have
Right.
had. So yeah, so in that regard, it's tough, right? It's tough to see the guys put the work in, buy into what you're doing, and just not get those results, right? But as far as what the two team is about, which is obviously trying to bring up our high potential players and try to get even the college guys that are here to move on either to the first team, or if they're here for a couple of years to move to like a USL championship or another MLS team or something like that. Honestly, I'm very happy. I'm very happy because when you look at Jack Franca, Zane, Kashi, Blaine, Gael, Pierre, Nate. These guys are further along, and I'm sure I'm missing some, but they are much further along now than I thought they would be. As they've grown tremendously in a short period of time, and it's, to be honest with you, it's always on the player. So it just means they're buying into it, they're working, they're paying attention. I think myself, Carlos, and Luis try to make sure we have everything prepared, whether we have 22 guys or whether we have 14s because some guys are up at the second team, whether we have 8 guys because guys are up at the second team or whatever. We have guys away with national team. We we always have something prepared for them. And it was something that I talked to the coaching staff about when I took over the team. Like, I'm like, I don't care if we have 8 guys, we will have something that we're going to get done that day. And Luis and Carlos are awesome about it. And I think we've done so far, I think we've done a pretty good job of that. So I've been enjoying it. I'm dying for the guys to get some fruits from their labor, and just fruits. They deserve a little bit more than what they've been getting.
And again, we've talked recently, but I've seen a lot of growth in the team where some games they had a really good 30 minutes, but fell apart at some point. But it seems like each of the games, it's mostly growing and they've gotten more consistent throughout you don't always get the result, but it seems like the performance is showing up throughout the game. Is that a fair statement?
That is absolute fair statement. I think the beginning was very inconsistent. I think we have really been trying to change the culture in the second team locker room. And I guess the best thing I can say is every person was fuming when we lost last game.
Yeah.
Because we had a lot of scoring opportunities in the first half, and to go in 0-0 hurt us, right? So we need to take advantage of those scoring opportunities. We probably have 4 really good opportunities to score. It just shows the mentality now. Like, yes, the space is about development, but part of development is winning. And even more than that, it's competing to win, right? And so now the guys expect to win. And that's like the first step. You got to expect to win. You got to come in to compete. And I think we're getting that across. And I'm really happy that the guys are buying into it. And and it's not easy when you're losing,
No.
right? So I give the guys a lot of credit. I've been through this. Listen, my first team ever was 3-37. Right. And I tell people all the time, I made my bones off that team because coaches were like, okay, this guy's either crazy or he loves the game, because we're 3-27 and we're 3-30 and I'm still running like a madman. And I learned so much from that year. So there's things you can learn during the winning seasons, and there's things obviously that you can learn when you're doing well.
Cool. I will let you go, but just what would you say to fans to give them a reason to come down and watch the 2 team?
Listen, I think it's a great way to start to develop some connection to the younger professionals that are going to be on our first team or some first team. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 guys with youth national team experience who are playing currently. We have one of our players now that's about to go to a national team camp for his first time. I don't think I can officially say who that is yet until it comes out, but really excited for that. So it's a great atmosphere. You're really, you're tight, you're right on the field.
Yeah.
So you get to actually see the speed and physicality of the game. It's a great environment, right? It's not the first team, obviously. That stadium is fantastic and the environment is there, but it's a good way to connect, and it's a good way if you're a younger player to get up close and personal and see how things are done.
And it'll give everybody a good chance to hear you yell at a ref.
Yep, probably a little bit. Yeah, not as much as I used to as a player, but
Nope.
They get a little sensitive now. You can't talk to them like you could
Yeah.
the refs back in our day.
It was a recent game. I heard you tell one of your players, like, just walk away from the ref, don't talk to him. And then like 2 minutes later, you're yelling at that ref. It was
Yeah,
pretty
that's
funny.
my job. Look, if somebody's going to get a card or somebody, let me take care of that. Stay in the moment and stuff like that.
Right. Anything you'd like to add?
No, just I think the more you can come out to sporting games, first team and second team, I don't know if a casual fan or even the casual soccer players know what kind of players we have here. Because you think MLS sometimes, and I think the MLS, it's interesting. I think it gets more of a bad rap here in the U.S. than it gets abroad. Like, people
Interesting.
respect the MLS and they understand the level. But we have, when you look at Decky, when you look at these guys, when you look at Mano, we have guys who are phenomenal players who could be playing in other countries. So if you are any hopes of playing, come out and watch some of the top guys in their craft, and it's a great way to grow as a player. And the games and the environment is really fun as well.
Yeah, I try to tell people we know the struggles that are going on and why some of the struggles are going on and all of that. But if you want to get on the ground floor of a team that was at its bottom to go up, this is the right time.
Absolutely. You want to get on a ground floor of a team that is literally on its way up. I think David has done a great job coming in here and steering the ship in the direction he wants. And Rafa and Edu have been fantastic collaboration with them. So both coaches and Dom, like that coaching staff has been fantastic.
Cool. I appreciate the time, Coach, and we are out.
All right. Thank you.
Team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. Give me beer, whiskey, wine or gin, anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team.